So today is going to be normal type. Now, I will say, I'm actually wearing my glasses for this vid. I will say that, wow, everything's so fucking yellow. I don't know if I can actually do this. This hurts my eyes. Holy shit. Okay, yeah. Normally I would have it. Normally I would, but not right now. All right, so the thing is about today is it's going to be normal type until we grab some wins, get some interesting vids and stuff, get some just good vibes going. I'm actually going to prep some music on the opposite side. And then we're going to talk about normal type. The usual, we're going to talk about normal, do some matches, and then I'll jump into league for however long or whatever. But that's going to be the normal kind of thing here. And I got some... I'm going to potentially have some background music going for when I do some battles and stuff. Maybe. I'm still not sure. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. I'm still not sure if I want to have background music because it might distract from the actual gameplay. We'll see. It's also hard to edit out background music too. So it's easier for vids if I wanted to edit them or put them on YouTube if they wanted to be edited at all to be actual just music. So who knows in terms of that? Who knows? So but yeah. It's going to be normal type. We're going to talk about normal type. Normal type is... you can talk about normal type for the Kingdom Come because they have so much stuff going on with it. There's like anything you can do with normal type. Well, like once we get there, we'll get there. It's going to be like, oh, you can make sure you edit Twitch and stuff. I'm like, oh, thanks. Thank you for telling me. Thank God Twitch is enlightening me that I can actually use Twitch's function. Congrats. Hold on, I'm actually gonna kill this bitch. Never mind. You ever just I'm gonna die right here. Holy shit. And then my phone will connect to the internet like randomly too, so that's pretty annoying. Okay, I kind of did what I needed to do. Alright. We are prepped and good to go. Or as good as we can be. So let's pause this and get into it. So we're gonna talk about normal type. Maybe if I had dark mode on, I could actually wear the glasses, but I can't do it right now. We're gonna talk about normal type either way. And can you see that? I gotta pull up the Pokemon camera. There we go. Normal type. All right. Here's my team too. You get pumped. Okay. As usual, kind of want to have a little break and then I'll talk about it so we can kind of have like a segue into it. All right. So normal type. As it sounds, is kind of like the everyday man kind of type that you can kind of do anything with. It's probably the most flexible type. It has incredible amounts of options. Each Pokemon usually in its type has incredible move pools. Specifically, the most just flat normal type Pokemon have incredible move pools usually. That's usually where they get their advantages from, normal type Pokemon, because it's not certainly like what the type itself brings. The type itself it brings is basically nothing in terms of advantages or disadvantages. I'd actually argue it brings more disadvantages than actual advantages. We'll get to it once we get to it, but normal type is like the everyday man type. It's supposed to be like the average type in a game. You can do anything with it. But I honestly think normal type is slightly below, like, I think it's below average in types. I think there are more types that are better. If you want like the average type, I'd probably say like dark. I think dark's like slightly better than normal. I could be wrong, but that's just in my honest opinion. I would rate something like dark or maybe I think psychic's actually weaker than normal. but like dark and maybe grass or something like that, or like the average types, and then normal's a little up there. I think it's better than rock and uh, rock, psychic, and what's the other one I'm thinking of? Ice, for example. I think it's better than those types, but I don't think it's like, oh my god, like this is the complete average type. Game Freak, you did it. No, no, no. I think normal is actually a pretty weak type. You can do a lot of things with it, and that's probably where it gains a lot of its advantages. But in terms of being an actual type, not that great. So we'll get down to it once we get down further right here. The average stats, as you can see, kind of, it plays to the average thing. You'll hear the word average throughout this entire video. I might as well just call this average type instead of normal type at this point. But you'll hear that a lot. Look at its stat spread right here. Pretty much like split down the mid. They're usually better physical attackers. That's mainly because I think a lot of flying normal birds are usually attack based. Those are where I think a lot of the attack numbers come from. You got like your Staraptors, your Swallows, your Pidgeot's a bad example because it's actually special. But like you get what I'm saying. I think like a lot of the starter birds have higher attacks, more than special attacks. Toucannon's another one too. And then you have like a lot of early game normal type Pokemon are actually like physically based. Bidoofs, Slokings, Eradicates, and stuff like that. I don't know if that like tweaks up the number, but that's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of early game normal type Pokemon are usually your attackers, and usually your special attack guys are kind of like late game. You pick up like a Drampa or something like that, or Porygon. Great examples for that. So early game, they usually give you the quote-unquote like Bidoof, Ferret, or Furret, or whatever, Sentret kind of tree, Raticate, your Rattatas. So that's normal type in a nutshell. You get like a bird, and you get a normal crappy guy at the beginning. And then you pick up like exotic normals. But for the most part, the stat spread is pretty average. Its speed is actually respectable at 83. Again, a lot of birds are in this bracket, so they're supposed to be probably faster. And I'm not saying like Raticate and Furret are like the epitome of slow, or Linoon or something like that. They're actually they're quick, and they usually have the move Quick Attack, which is a normal move, which is a great move. Probably one of the better normal moves. But we're talking about stat spread for now, and they're pretty much average. We kind of spent a lot more time than we probably needed to on it. Battle properties. Now, here we go. Okay, so this is why I think normal is going to have a disadvantage coming up soon. First of all, it's half damage against steel, which is already problematic because steel is pretty prevalent in the OU metagame. And Ghost is immune to normal moves. So it's already, like, out of all of the things normal does, it doesn't hit anything 2 times, which I would argue normal should hit one thing, just one thing 2 times. I get like its advantage is it's only resisted by like 2 types or like immune to 1, but steel is pretty prevalent. Ghost being immune, anytime your move is just immune to a type is like that's horrid. That's not great, especially Ghost. Ghosts are very good defensive Pokemon. You'll see them, but like, for what you get out of it, like, yeah, the rock thing doesn't really matter. Okay, half damage against rock. That probably is a good selling point for normal. But, like, man, if you're using an offensive normal move, and it gets, like, generally speaking, doesn't get walled off. But when it does, and their steel types are not that uncommon, I'm just saying, you'll run into a physical wall that's there. Granted, normal types usually have a way around that. But offensively, you're probably not using normal moves unless it's, like, Quick Attack, or you have an ability that like adapts them or changes them. Facade is the other normal type that you use if you're not a normal type Pokemon. And then, gods, there's probably another one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. For the most part, you're only using a normal move as like return or something like that. It's a good move, 100 damage, 100 accuracy, doesn't hit anything hard. You're probably only using it for stab. Even on normal Pokemon, that might be like your filler move, because you probably want stuff that gets you type advantages somewhere. Strong stab on normal Pokemon is still pretty okay. Being able to just hit everything neutral is alright. Again, I think it's a little weaker than what this stat spread. You're like, oh my god, you hit everything neutral or you hit everything neutral. That's great. Like, in most cases, you'll just hit something hard. and you'll expect it. I'm like, well, then you get the steal and then the ghost, and you just lose it right there. So defensively, again, it is immune to ghost, but opposite end of the spectrum, I think ghost type moves a little less common than normal type moves, as strange as it sounds. You only usually see them on ghost or stuff that's trying to pick up like normal type Pokemon that are trying to pick up like moves to use against ghost type Pokemon. For example, Night Slash or Shadow Claw are good like moves for Pokemon like Zangoose, for example, that needs to be able to hit ghost or needs to be able to hit. They don't want to be immune or walled off by a ghost or something like that. So ghost type moves are actually not that common unless they're on a ghost. It's kind of the same thing towards normal. I'd argue that you see ghost Pokemon more in a defensive role, or you see ghost type Pokemon in general more in OU. I will count it up. I'm pretty sure. Not sure on that. We can do a count if you really want to call me out on it. It might even be close. I don't know. I merit the ghost type being resistant to normal, then ghost ghost being immune or normal being immune to ghost higher. Again, normal type Pokemon besides Chansey and Wigglytuff are pretty much not that defensive. I think Snorlax is, I guess, too. But in OU, like ghost type Pokemon are, I would say they're more defensive. But then you get like, that's not necessarily true either. It's a mixed bag. I just merit this thing kind of like doesn't mean too much, but it's just a negative against normal, I think. I don't really hold that against Ghost. If you saw Ghost, what else Ghost brings, maybe you would see it as an advantage or something like that. And then fighting type being good against it. Fighting moves, I've said throughout my entire commentaries and such, fighting moves are not that hard to access. You get your close combats, you get your brick break on nearly everything in the game. You get mock punches and stuff like that. And they can kind of wreck your day. So normal type being resistant to fight. If it was something like odd, like psychic or something like that, normal would actually be a pretty good defensive type. Being, well, not pretty good, but it would be like, I think it would have more merit. But you can definitely see the pros of being normal type. I think of being locked down by this and then being hit hard by fighting. I would give it so much more to this is so much worse. These are both bad, but like normal type's advantages of the 2 times and the half damage from nothing, literally nothing in the game, unless you have another type attached to you, you take half damage from. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. There's only one thing super effective against you, yeah, but it's one of the more common offensive types for physical move sets. So I'm just saying that normal type, its merits of this, the master of none, but like weak to nothing, is not necessarily true because it's weak to this shit, like right here. So I actually dock points off being a normal type Pokemon if you have this crap holding you back a little bit. So that's my thought process on at least the typing issue. Some Pokemon override that just because of pure stats. We will get to those Pokemon when we get to them for normal type Pokemon. I think it's pretty obvious which normal type Pokemon I'm talking about when I say they override these with bulky fucking stats. Bulky being the key word, and other we'll say other abilities probably help out normals. A lot of normal type Pokemon actually have Scrappy. Fun fact. And one OU offensive powerhouse has Scrappy. So again, normal type Pokemon usually would have a problem with being able to hit Ghost or something like that. It's not OU because it can hit Ghost. We'll talk about it once we get there, but I think this is a negative towards normal. It's type relationship chart kind of deal thing. So mixed bag. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Mr. Average. So obviously I think normal type's one of the more prevalent types. I think water is actually the most common type in the game. I want to say water type has the most Pokemon in it. So it's going to be fun once I get to water, but that's not water today. I think normal still has like one of the higher up. It's probably top 5 in like having Pokemon in it. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because you can just tack on a normal type. A lot of like random like Pokemon have like a normal like attachment to it. There's a good example in like Girafarig. Like what the fuck are you talking? I guess it's like living on the plains, or What's another one that's pretty huge? Sawsbuck. I guess it's like a thing living on the fucking plains. I don't really know what makes it a normal over just like a normal dragon, or like this is just not a pure fighting, or this is not a pure psychic. I don't know. I guess they wanted to be different. Pyroar is like the same way. Like you probably could have just made it all fire. I guess they just didn't want another. Lux Ray should be like dark electric, but it's not. It's just electric. I could argue. Pyroar should just be fire. But okay, cool. They'll just tack on a normal type. Especially birds. Birds actually get fucked over. Normal flying is not that great of a type. It doesn't... flying type, and there's a lot of normal flying. I think it's the most common pair with flying, so... no, flying type just gets, like, gutted like that, but... Let's talk about the normal moves since I bragged about. That's one of its selling points. I will say that normal type Pokemon usually have huge move sets. Normal type moves are actually not too bad, too, if I remember correctly. Even though you're probably not going to get them unless you get stabbed, but they're still pretty good. So, oh yeah, Bide, best move. I thought this was a fighting move, Belly Drum, but it is a normal move. You can have Belly Drum sets and stuff like that. That's pretty crazy. Baton Pass, I don't know if it's banned. I really don't. It's one of the better moves in the game. You can have whole like sets around it. I don't know if it's banned in OU. I've never seen it. I'm pretty sure it's just like straight up banned. It's not allowed. Body Slam is a really good normal move. If you're not running Return and you want like a move that kind of like boosts your utility and still has a really strong stab, actually 85 is not bad for having a really good effect. 30% paralysis, that's actually really good, and you'll see me use it on these sets just so my Pokemon have more utility to them. It's one of the few ways you can paralyze ground Pokemon. I think Glare is the other one. All the other ones are electric type. I could be wrong, but I think Stun Spore is the other one too. But Body Slam is actually a pretty good type. It's really underrated. If you're not running Return, you want some, like I said, something else to do with besides Return, then grab Body Slam. Hell. Captivate. Comet Punch. Oh. Like I said, I had really good moves, and I can't find one. Oh, Cut! Oh! Dizzy Punch, Defense Curl. Wow. Double Hit is only on the monkey, purple monkey thing. I'm pretty sure it's the only thing that uses it because it has Technician, maybe? Double Slap. Echoed Voice. Echoed Voice is not the one I'm thinking of. Double Edge is just if you have, like... I've seen things with, like, Rock Head use it, so you don't take the recoil damage. A lot of Pokemon can actually learn Double Edge. If you really need a strong stab and you don't mind losing a chunk of your HP, grab it. But I think if you don't have Rocky Head, there's other options. I think Return is just more solid, even though Double Edge does 20 more damage. I think you're better off with Return. Endure and Endeavor and Encore are kind of cheesy. The 3 E's of Hell. Encore is probably the most useful out of all of them. It's basically like a form of Taunt, but I like it better than Taunt because you can stick them into a like a Stealth Rock kind of phase. I think it's better in Taunt, and it's also easier to use than Taunt because if you taunt the wrong thing, they'll actually just fuck you up. And more tanks are actually able to strike back with Vigor, I guess. Explosion, like, okay, I don't even see Explosion anymore. You used to see Explosion all the time, but then they cut it. I think they like cut it in half or something like that, the damage. Yeah, it's not the greatest. Fake Out is another normal or common move that you see for normal types. Maybe not common, but it's on Lopunny, Ambipom, the fighting... God, it's on the fighting... like thing, whatever that is. I can't think of its name. It's on a lot of fighting Pokemon. We'll say it like that. Mienfo or something like that. I think that's what it is. But yeah, Fake Out's a really good move, just so you can get chip damage on it. I see Hitmonlee's run Fake Out. It's just free damage, very nice, but usually it's pretty predictable when it's going to happen. It always goes first too. Glare is on very limited amount of Pokemon, but it is another way to paralyze something. Is probably the best way to paralyze something if you can actually get Glare, if you want it instead of Thunder Wave. It doesn't miss, and it also hits electric Pokemon. I'm pretty sure. Maybe the electric Pokemon can't even get paralyzed. Fine, it hits ground type Pokemon. There. I like how Growth is a fucking... instead of a grass move, it's actually a normal type move. Heal Bell is a very common move. It's basically aromatherapy, but for normal types. So normal types actually have access to this. Chansey's the big one, obviously, for this, and then some EV chains have heal bell as well. Um, I don't see Hyper Beam. Hyper Fang is not that great. Hyper Voice is like the special equivalent. It's like your Ice Beam for normal. It's strong and it. I don't know if it actually has a second effect, but it's basically like your Ice Beam for normal type. And then you have. Look how many moves we've already gone through. Oh, Metronome. Morning Sun's like a healing move. It's not that great though. Pain Split should be a ghost move, but it's not. You see that on like Grind or Mux. You see it on Dusk Nors. You see it on Wheezing. Like that kind of like weird kind of people can learn that. Basically, the freaks of the group can learn Pain Split. It's another way to heal. Perish Song you see on like things that can like birds that can hum. So like Chatot or usually I actually see it the most on like Lapras. Oddly enough, things that make noises and then just trap you in. It used to be a problem when I think there was something that had like Shadow Tag or I don't know, it was just Perish Song and you couldn't leave. I can't remember it off the top of my head that it had Arena Trap or Shadow Tag or something like that, and it would Perish Song, and it was not great. Present Protect, obviously Protect's used by like can be used by like, everybody in the game. Stalling, or it helps you set up Leech Seeds or stalling Toxic Turns. Quick Attack is the move I already mentioned at the beginning of the game. Like basically, beginning it always goes first. Very good actually. If you can get Bullet Punch or Mach Punch, you'd probably rather take that. But Quick Attack's not that bad. Rapid Spin is like kind of out. It's kind of outdated, but Defog is now like the new thing. But Rapid Spin was the old way. You could get rid of Stealth Rocks and Spikes and like Leech Seed. Problem now, or problem always with Rapid Spin, is if something knew you were going to Rapid Spin, they would just switch into Ghost. And that was the biggest interaction with like Ghost normal types I used to see, where Ghost would just block Rapid Spins and stuff by just, like Dusclops would just sit in there and just block it over and over again. And you could never clear the spikes away, so it was not the greatest. Recover isn't, you know, the like heal move besides like Soft Boiled, which you'll see further down the list, I believe. Roar is basically Whirlwind and Roar are hazers that get Pokemon out that you don't want to be in, and they break up stat boosting, they break up anything that you can't deal with, they mix Pokemon into rocks and your entry hazards more, which is really good too. It's a very good way of actually stalling out Pokemon and like buying yourself more turns, or just being a defensive nuisance. Whirlwind and Roar are very similar and very good. Screech I've seen as a hazer as well, but it also just helps you set up. I don't think it's used as a hazer that much anymore. It used to be, but you could threaten things with like Screech, and not many things want to take 2 defense down and want to stay in, so. Dun dun dun. Shell Smash, I can't believe is a normal type move, but is like the bread and butter. Besides Quiver Dance, it's like the other one that like if you see a Shell Smash and you don't react to it right away, you can just insta-lose. Not that fun. Slack Off is another healing, like whatever. Sleep Talk and Rest is a combination that you can use. If you're resting, you're probably having Sleep Talk, and then you use 2 other moves. It'll randomly use a move, which is pretty good. Soft Boiled's only on Chansey. Fuck that guy. Wow, there's so many fucking moves. I don't think we need Super Fang. Like, if you have it, it takes things down to half HP. Usually on Pokemon that have terrible attack. I don't see Swagger that much anymore. Thrash I don't see like ever. It's basically like Outrage but for normal types. There's Whirlwind, I've already mentioned it. Wish is on like EVs and stuff and other cutesy Pokemon. That it's another way of healing, but like adding more utility because you can like protect and switch to other Pokemon. Unlike healing, you can heal other Pokemon besides yourself. Yawn I see like very rarely. It's basically another hazing move where you'll put the other Pokemon to sleep, but it doesn't work because the sleep claws like half the fucking time. Did I miss any moves? Swords Dance, okay. You'll see it on attacking Pokemon. It's like the Nasty Plot, but not Nasty Plot, obviously. Pretty straightforward. A lot of these moves are pretty straightforward what you gotta do with them. Status effects and stuff. So yeah, There's normal type Pokemon. Besides just having all of those fucking normal type moves, which I think are probably one of the highest in the game, if not the highest. They have access to like the most TMs, the most like varied move pool besides that. So their move pools are fucking enormous. Enormous, meaning you can do a lot with different Pokemon. And you'll soon see with my normal type team. Actually, my normal type team plays it pretty clean, but let's talk about Pokemon that are in OU real quick. For normal type Pokemon. So I have to go here. This is the most frustrating part. You have to actually like make a new team or something like that. I have to go to Team Builder and new team. Okay, let's talk about OU. First things first, you have to mention Chansey. Chansey is the best normal type Pokemon in the game. With Evilite, and it doubles your defenses, so your special defense becomes like 210. If I'm remembering what Evilite does exactly, it might be only 1.5. But you get, like, say you grab this, and then you grab Evilite. It might be 1.5. Is it 2? 1.5. Okay, so it's not actually 2. But look at its HP, and then look at its special defense, and you already got a monster. That is without having Natural Cure, which is really fucking frustrating. I mean, you can't Toxic Chansey, you can't burn it, you can't fucking do anything to this piece of shit. And it'll just switch out and heal and get rid of that status effect. So you can't Toxic Stall it out. And you usually actually could carry Aromatherapy too. But Chansey has Aromatherapy. It's got Heal Bell if you don't want to be a grass kind of guy doing that. Its special attack is pretty bad, but I have seen some Chanseys try to run like Thunder and Blizzard to kind of like trick you up. It has Wish. Soft Boiled is the one usually you see, so it just stalls you out of special PP. This thing could take a Focus Blast from like one of the highest special attackers in a game, in terms of like Porygon Z has a really high special attack, and this thing can like eat it. I think it doesn't even take half damage with an Evilite. Like, that's how frustrating Chansey is. And then it has even Stealth Rock if you really needed a Stealth Rocker. But like Chansey is, or if you see a Chansey, you have to have Knockoff or like Switcheroo or Trick or something like that. This thing is so frustrating to deal with. It used to be Blissey before they introduced Evilite. Blissey's still pretty fucking strong. It has more offensive capabilities than Chansey, obviously, but Chansey is like, oh my god. The good thing is it doesn't have leftovers, but still, like, it just has a really solid set. And the worst part about Chansey, not the worst, this is dramatic, but a really underrated part about Chansey is it can deal like 100 damage to you with Seismic Toss. For sweepers who only have maybe, 400 HP or 300 HP, that's a lot of damage that you can rack up with Seismic Toss. So even its like offenses being like shit or like not that much of a problem, and unless you catch this thing off guard or something like that, it's gonna just switch away. It's not hard to predict when a physical move is coming. If you can get something with a mixed sweeper, that's pretty good, but like this thing will soft boil and stall you out, and it has Toxic or something like that. It's just really a bitch. Really fucking a bitch. So that's one normal type Pokemon that's absolutely just frustrating as hell. It's the equivalent of Celesteela, maybe just like worse. It's like the special version. Like, this is the special wall for OU bracket. Chansey. I think there's better ones, but Chansey will get the job done. I'm not sure if like Clefable is like any better, actually, but with Magic Bounce and stuff. But Chansey's really frustrating to deal with. I don't have to talk about Clefable, luckily. Or else I'd have to talk about two bad Pokemon in a row. Okay, so I kind of already mentioned this too, but Lopunny, Mega specifically. It has Fake Out, and it has like another fighting move. I don't know if it has like Brick Break or Power Up Punch or something like that. Usually like that. And then from there it can kind of vary its moveset. But 136 attack and 135 speed. Do I need to say any more? It's, key stats are where you need them. And like its defenses are 94 and 96. I don't know why. It's a goddamn bunny that has literally cotton sticking out of it. Could make its defenses a little weaker, but who fucking wants that? We need our Playboy bunny to be really good. Sorry, I get a little heated when I verse a lot of Lopunnies and stuff, because people love that Pokemon. But it has Scrappy, so your Ghosts are not safe, if you had any Ghost anyway. He's not afraid of a no Ghost. But yeah, he's got very similar movesets. They got Fake Out, so they'll do a chunk of your damage and then From there, they can do all kinds of fighting moves. They have huge move pools because they're normal type. So I've seen fire punches, I've seen ice punches, quick attacks, thunder punch. You have all the elemental punches. You're probably pretty good. Power up punch. So yeah, this thing. I've seen drain punch. I've seen like all of these moves. Just pick one. Pick a physical move out of here. You probably got a pretty good stab. It's got a good move pool. Not the best move pool, but it's got a solid enough one. So you'll probably be able to be whatever you want out of it. So you can get anything out of Lopunny. It's got the stats where you need it. Simple as that. Let's see. Is there any other normal type Pokemon in OU? I don't actually think there's many. Yeah, like I said, OU normal type Pokemon not that great. So I already won the prediction. I don't know if I really won. I predicted against myself that normal type is has less than. I even forgot what I mentioned. Normal type has less than Ghost. That's what it was. There's one Ghost. There's two Ghost. There's three Ghosts. Boom. And one of them is defensive, which is Sableye. Is there a fourth Ghost? No, there's not. Okay. But yeah, normal type has those two. Is there any in BL that I can talk about, actually? Oh, no, there's Mimikyu, too. Bam! Boom. More ghosts than normal type Pokemon. Oh, yeah. Digger's B, I'm not going to talk about. It's got huge power. That's essentially its selling point. So 56 attack to 112. Pretty good. Not too bad. And it's got a good type, ground, to pair with normal. If you're going to pair like a type with normal, you probably want something that resists something. Ground is pretty good. Maybe steel, but there is no normal steel, I'm pretty sure. And Porygon Z, I've already talked about it. Special attack is 135, which is basically Lopunny's attack damage stat. But it's got 90 speed. This thing with like I'm pretty sure people back in the day when I played like Diamond and Pearl, if it had like Focus Blast and then like I don't know if it was Hyper Beam at the time, but if it had the strongest normal type stab, it could like it could almost two-shot or one-shot Blissey or something like that. Was the big contention. Or Blissey would die to like this is before Evilite, but Blissey would die to a Focus Blast from Porygon Z. It was like one of the few things that actually could kill Blissey through its special monstrosity, bulk, whatever you want to call it. Staraptor has Intimidate, which is always a really good spell, and it's the best flying bird in terms of like normal flying, because it has Intimidate and it's got Brave Bird and just wrecks your shit up in close combat and stuff like that. I think it has Quick Attack too, but it's easier to run that set than any other bird. For example, Swellow or Pidgeot. So that's pretty much normal type in a nutshell. Again, overall rating slightly above like the weakest types in the game, but still below average. Even though it's supposed to be the average type, Psychic and Dark kind of fill that out a little more dark than anything. I think Dark is the average type in the game. And then everything else below it is crappy or bad or like weak, whatever you want to call it. Everything above it is strong to good, whatever you want to do with like OP, whatever. So like Rock and Ice are not going to be above normal, but pretty much everything else is. Maybe Grass is also in the average. I think Grass and Dark are pretty much your average types. All right. And then Bug is actually weaker than normal too, I'd argue. Maybe that's close between Bug and normal. That one actually I could argue. You can make some arguments for. I'm not entirely sure. And then I don't know what to rate Dragon either. Normal Dragon, like, God, it's really hard to rate Dragon as well. But I don't know. Just Dragon's carried more by stats than actually the type. So with Fairy included, I think Dragon actually is not that good of a type. It might be weaker than normal. If Dragon type Pokemon, this is a sidetrack, and then we'll finish normal vid for now. If Dragon didn't have the type coverage to back it up, or not type coverage, but like the type of like the Pokemon usually have high base stat totals. It's got 4 resistances though: Grass, Water, Electric, and what's the other one it resists? Fire. So it's got 4 resistances unlike normal. I guess. Okay, maybe Dragon is better than normal. Okay. We'll give Dragon better than normal. Slightly. Maybe Dragon's your average type. I don't fucking know. I don't know where my types fall. But just know that normal's not that great. As evidenced by the main OU Pokemon is like a gimmick fucking Evilite egg stealing Jerk off. God damn it. It's actually secretly evil too because it, just sits in Pokemon centers and just like wishes that you came back or something like that. It wants to take care of your dead bodies. Alright, that's normal type. We can actually talk about my team now, so